Hey guys, this episode of Untold Stories is sponsored by Kava Labs and Paraswap. You'll hear more about them later on in this episode. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Monday, happy Tuesday, or happy Wednesday, whatever day you're listening to the show. I am Charlie Shrem, and you're watching and listening Untold Stories, where twice a week we get to dive deep with some of crypto's coolest people in the room. But actually today, someone who didn't come from the crypto world. We've become really, really good friends, and we're working together. Tom Malloy, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
It's so good. We get to do this show in person. We can dress up for the CD, for the audio,
exactly.
get our face makeup going here today.
There's a lot of makeup this morning.
You know, we met during the height of COVID, and we took an opportunity during when the whole filmmaking world was shut down, and decided to like develop this project. Asked me to dance, and we're like in the crazy days of shooting. It's almost over now. I know what everyone's talking about, like going through a war. Opportunities, and we're going to talk about that today. This business in and out. I want to understand how it all works, because like you told me, film is actually the US. It's our biggest export here. But not only financially, it's how the world is affected culturally, socially, how we all talk to each other, how we interact with each other. Just simple things like, I read an article the other day, and they're like, the whole concept that we think of summer vacation, of lakes and ponds and beaches, 99% of the world is still just going to go to work every day. But that idea of summer and the amazingness summer of 69, blah, 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 it all comes from TV and film. It's how we...
Even more than that, love, and mistrust of governments and things like that. A lot of those things start as film plots. You know what I mean? Like that romantic love, that movie love that may not happen many times in real life. People expect that and want that, and I there's a piece of me that feels that partially has led to divorces, that people want that movie love, and then they realize life is just a grind many times, so it's it definitely influences the way that we behave and perceive each other.
I always thought that comedy was one of the easiest things to do. Stand-up comedy, you make people laugh. You've been making me laugh since the day we met. You've done, not only acted in, produced like 17 films. This is your 18th or your 17th?
Well, acting, I've been in close to 40 films. Producing, this is my 17th film produced. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why is this one of your first comedies that you've ever acted in?
That's a tough question to answer. I would say timing, and just different. It's so much as timing, but also different ideas and different experience. And I'll say that some movies fell in my lap and were made just because they were right there, which I'll give you an example of in a second. But initially I thought, why not make a horror film, because it was easy, and I wanted to, and I was a horror geek, and I still am. And so I thought, make a horror movie. And so one of my first movies was a horror movie. And so, but other times, like this one film, Fairhaven, that I made, that was really beautiful LGBT drama. It was like my student. I was just mentoring this female filmmaker, Kirsten Karlhuber, and she said she's got this film and the money, and like timing happened. There was film, there was money. I was there. She could shoot it, and so I produced the film for her. So like things happen like that, timing wise as well. So it's a strange trajectory. But the funny side story, without going into my full story yet, is that the first movie I ever wanted to do was a dance movie, and it never happened. Isn't that funny? And so. It was some unscrupulous producer and his director, and I was just such a kid. Like, here, take my stuff, and they stole the script.
And now we're doing a romantic comedy dance movie.
Yeah. After all this, I just had to do 16 films in between and spend 20 years, and then then I was fine.
So what you just described, though, that 16 years in between doing 20 films, like most people in your industry don't have the opportunity to even have that experience, because it's so capital intensive. It's like, I was talking to. When I was in prison, I was talking to like drug dealers a lot, because when I was in there, and they were like, yeah, Charlie, like most drug dealers, you don't see any retired drug dealers. It's like they're dead or in prison. Your industry, it's like, it takes so long to be able to be successful.
Yeah.
You have to, it's like grind for so many years and learning, but having fun along the way.
Yeah.
You're meeting such amazing people.
Well, so, all right. So going back, like, so if you look at when I started as an actor only, right? And the key is that there are people that just choose the one profession, only know that. Like my asterisk, so to speak, as being a triple hyphenate. Now I'm a quadruple hyphenate, I guess. But with the triple hyphenate that I did for years was actor, writer, producer. And when I first started doing that, nobody was doing it. Now everybody wants to do that, you know, because that's a.
I asked someone last night, one of our actors, and she's like, I said, "Are you excited to direct?" as a joke, and she's like, "Oh, I can't wait to direct." Yeah. It's like, I didn't know people. Like, is that a thing? Everyone directs now?
Well, apparently, yeah. And, you know, it's so funny. And I never had aspirations to direct, but that kind of again fell into my lap. But you know, when I started, I was an actor, and you know, I think you've heard this story. I did a movie called Gravesend on the streets of Brooklyn.
Oliver Stone.
Yeah, he put his name on it, and I mean, we were just going to street corners to be a gang of thugs, and we'd be like, "You guys want to shoot a fight scene?" And they'd be like, "Yeah," and then a big fights would break out. But we improvised the entire movie. And with Oliver Stone put his name on it, and I was like the second or third biggest role. I thought I was going to be a household name just from that movie. And when that didn't happen, funny enough, I was auditioning against a lot of established stars already, like Ryan Felipe. I remember Scott Wolf. I would lose roles to, and how they doing now? But anyway, no, I'm just kidding. I'm sure they're doing great. But I figured instead of saying, well, I could be a waiter, which is like what a lot of actors do, or do whatever they're going to do, or real estate or something like that. I said, well, why don't I learn everything else so that I could just learn all this other stuff? So that's where the story condenses. And, you know, for the past 20 years, I've been learning every other aspect of the business. I mean, like, you know, and you know, as a writer, I've done now 30 something screenplays, and I've option sold or made into movies 25 of those screenplays. And
yeah, it's a good point. Why don't people like try to go figure out other parts of the industry? You do see crossover a lot. You do see like actors that can be like a director of photography. Yeah, everyone can be doing different things, but you don't see the business side of it. No one understands the business side of making a film.
100%. You know, and look at, and there's a teensy argument that you could say that if you're all over the place, maybe you lack focus. Maybe I'm a hybrid in a way that I can just focus. I can put a lot of energy. You know, I have a lot of energy. Yeah, I can put a lot of energy into a lot of all those things. Maybe certain people need focus on one thing or the other. But I mean, it was like almost taboo. When I went to my agent, it was like 2005, and I said, I want to be an actor, writer, producer. She said, well, you can't do all three. You got to be one of those things, you know? And again, I always joke that same agent, if somebody came into her today and said, you know, I just want to be an actor, she'd be like, well, no, you have to write, produce, you have to direct, you know? So now it's become a thing where you have to create opportunities for yourself. So, you know, and then that's a good way to do it.
You know what? You do. You have to create opportunities for yourself.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. That's the only thing. It's like, yeah, people can open up doors and you can kind of for you and you can walk through them, but sometimes you have to build your own doors to walk through them yourself. You have to create your own. And there's no shame. We were talking about that this morning. There's no shame in that. There's no shame in using what you have, using the connections that you have, continuing to grow and to push yourself forward. Because at the end of the day, the only people that are ever insecure about anything is you. Yeah. You're the only one.
Biggest critic. Yeah. Yeah. You know, look, acting takes a knack. You know, there's a knack, which is an interesting thing. Like you have a knack for crypto, right? There's not, let me say that and geez, I guess writing does too. Producing, I could say, probably doesn't. Producing can be a learned
Yeah, it can be learned. I'm learning it as I go along.
As you go along. You know what I mean? You pick it up.
It's problem solving and people, dealing with people.
It's like, yeah, exactly. And so the more you know, it's just experience-wise. Like I didn't feel I got to be a good producer until my movie Ashley. And then I was like, all right, I know what I'm doing by now. And
why?
So, because just experience, just watching, you know what I mean? Like say we're producing a film right now, and then you find out the grip. Yes, we are producing, but like something happens, like the grip truck is
breaks something.
Down.
Yeah,
anybody can fix that problem because that's the thing. But then there's certain things industry wise, you know, that are so specific. You know, like SAG needs an updated, report on the preliminary cast list or something like that. And so there's things that how would you know unless you knew what they were talking about? You know what I mean? Like I've heard many people call, purports by the different things. Day out of days. I've heard them called day of the days. Or
I call it day in, day out.
Yeah, day out, day out.
That's what I'm saying. I was Googling day in, day out last night.
No, but like it's just experience. So like that can be learned. And writing, you have to have a knack, even though I think a lot of it. So look, I think also with a lot of acting too, there can be skills learned. But at the end of the day, with both of those, you need that little extra piece, which I believe is undefined, right? And so you have to believe in yourself to have that, right? And as an actor on the screen. So what I'm getting at is this. When I first did, the first movie that I raised money for, and it was called The Attic. It was the director of Pet Sematary, and it was Elizabeth Moss, who's huge, myself, John Savage, Catherine Mary Stewart, and I did that movie. And so now I had to gain, like, just for the role, I gained 30 pounds, and I played this guy with Asperger's, and it was great, right? The film itself was received because I don't think the director and I linked up on our vision. I was too young to say anything about it. But what I'm getting at is that if I had done that movie and been the weakest link in there, that was probably the last film where I would have been an actor, writer, producer, right? But what I was the strongest link. And here's Elizabeth Moss, multiple Emmy Award winner. Every review that panned it always, not across the boards, but almost always pointed out, like, the actor who played Frankie, blah, 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 was fantastic, blah, blah, blah. So meaning you got to bring your A game. You can learn. I own filmmaking stuff and filmmakingstuffhq.com. They're huge sites for teaching filmmakers. I feel they're the best sites on the internet for learning film. You can learn everything I know. You still have to have that knack. You still got to be good. You got to bring the A game, and so you have that little knack, And like for a perfect example is Courtney. She's got a knack, she's a great actress, but then she's got to learn the technical part, walking in, hitting marks and all that stuff. That's the other. But the best part of that is that can be trained. You know what I mean? The knack can't be trained. Does that make sense?
There is. And it's so you have to have a little bit of that talent that you have to be born with, unfortunately. Unfortunately, how are you raised or whatever. And then there's a lot of, like, skill involved. There's a lot of hard work, but there's also a lot of, it's like high school all over again. There's a lot of social aspect to it, drama. The hardest part of producing that I've been finding is dealing with, like, you can't just throw money at every problem. You can't do that to solve them. You have to, like, deal with people that are professionals all the time.
You have to finesse a lot of it so much. It's like my line producer friend, a guy named Dan Solinger, once he's done, 40, 50 movies, once said to me, he says, I've learned everything I need to know about cameras and microphones and crew rates. He says, but every film is a brand new lesson on managing personalities. And it's like, oh God, yeah, it's so true. But, look, people put the film business on, like, this weird plateau, and it's different. And I think People Magazine and crap like that, Entertainment Weekly, is to blame, because that's in the royalty in this country. Is movies are kind of royalty. But, I before this, in my 20s, I worked in other industries. It's like, they're all the same. Yeah. You know what I mean? People, the Hollywood, everybody sleep with everybody else. It's like, I worked in office supply companies where everybody was sleeping with everybody else. You know what I mean? It's like, what are you talking about? And, like, people, whatever. I get very angry, people crapping on the film business or just saying these guys or they're crazy Hollywood people or something like that, because it's like, I've seen real estate companies where they were, like, going nuts and partying and doing coke every night. And it's just like, you see it. You see the film.
You don't even know what crypto is like.
Exactly.
These crypto companies.
But you see the films. It's like, there's a funny story that I have from one film where an actress was upset because her bathroom wasn't being cleaned. And there was nobody else that could do it. We didn't have a bathroom cleaner. So I literally, producer of the film, went and cleaned her toilet, her entire bathroom, toilet, everything. And I wanted to take a selfie and be like, this is producing. You know what I mean? Like, people are picturing me pouring Cristal in my head, limo driving. And yes, there are teeny aspects of that, Cannes, film festival, stuff like that, where you've had those aspects. But most of it is hard damn work.
Hey guys, I am Charlie Shrem from Untold Stories, and I'm on my way to Bitcoin Miami, somewhere south of Washington, D.C. Who knows? Excited to tell you about the fact that Paraswap, our amazing sponsor and my favorite decentralized aggregator, not only offers multi-chain transfers on Ethereum, but they've just launched it on top of Polygon and Binance Smart Chain. So you can go and amalgamate all of your type of decentralized transfers, from buying tokens, selling tokens, transferring between things. If you use Uniswap, 1inch Exchange, any of these other decentralized aggregators, you're paying gas fees and you're doing all of these on-chain transactions for every little thing that you do. Whereas with Paraswap.io, you get to actually go and predefine all of your transactions and all of your transfers, who, what, where, why, and when, So then when you hit submit, it all happens in there publicly, open source smart contracts right in front of your eyes almost instantly on all of these different blockchains. Check them out at untoldstories.link/Paraswap. That's untoldstories.link/power swap. And I am heading south. I will see y'all soon.
Our partners over at Kava Labs and Binance just launched something really cool, an awesome new integration where you can earn 10% APY on your hard stablecoins using the Binance DeFi platform. This is actually pretty cool because Kava Labs has been doing DeFi, but actually in a decentralized way, offering governance for their token holders. And not only with their stable coins, but their lending products, all their different, the ability to stake and vote and earn different yields and liquidity mining. So not only is Kava Labs doing that, but partnering with Binance gives it that awesome, like full trailblazing go ahead to offer these really, really good yields with an amazing partner, Binance and Kava Labs together. Check them out at untoldstories.link/Kava. That's untoldstories.link/Kava. There's always some specials and crazy stuff going on. Enjoy. It's super hard damn work. And, and all of my listeners are involved in crypto in some way or another. And they're working for companies that are very similar to film where they're spun up quickly.
Yeah.
I'm in an industry that moves very, very fast.
Yeah.
And what the market wants and needs, we don't know until sometimes like right now.
Yeah.
And to spin up a company to service and to build the plumbing and then to grow, it's a lot of companies fail. That's why a lot of crypto companies, they break. Film, it's been very similar. I've been noticing it. You build this LLC, you develop the film, and then you have 100 people working on set for this company.
Well, the only difference I would say is that with the film, a week from now, when the film's over, then that company it's not that it's gone, but it's just there's only 3 people left, 3-4 people working in post and stuff. So this whole big band that we put together just dissipates. But I'll say that much like crypto, you have to believe in your own vision, right? And the films that I've gotten done, I've just marched forward. And with this one, we talked about when we were talking about this movie, maybe I didn't tell you these things, but like people were telling me, there's no way you could shoot a movie during COVID. Like somebody told me, and these are the experienced line producers said, just so you know, Tom, half of your budget is going to go to COVID. I go, okay, but and so things like that. I've had people tell me for the budget we did this film for, you can never have this many characters. You got to cut characters. We started
the development of this script like deep in COVID. It's not like now, like we're shooting now. We just decided yesterday. We're working on this for, I don't know,
months.
That's just been, I've been involved. You've been working on this for years.
And so it's you look, you don't, when you really, there's a famous story that Stan Lee tells about going in and pitching Spider-Man to his editor, right? And before he goes into the editor, and I hope I'm not butchering the story, is that he says, he thinks of a character, he says, let me make somebody a teenager, and and so he's got those teenage problems. Spiders he thought were really cool, and he figured out the powers and all that stuff, and he wanted to have him have social problems and kind of be geeky. He goes in the editor, pitches the thing, and the editor says, okay, number one, people hate spiders, so forget that. Number two, he's a teenager. They want, adults. And number three, he's like insecure and geeky. They want popular people, right? Get the hell out of my office. So funny enough, he had done enough that he had to put, there was a comic called Amazing Stories. He had to put that comic, they were killing it anyway. They were ending that comic. So he thought, put the Spider-Man in there. So funny enough, there's no Spider-Man number 1. It's like Amazing Stories 15 is the original Spider-Man.
Really?
Yeah. So anyway, that comes out, breaks every sales record. And he goes, and this is a true story, Stan Lee tells it. He says, his editor runs in, he says, Stan, remember that idea of yours we were so excited about? And I just love that because now the editor had completely changed it. Now, it's like, but what I'm saying, so Stan's point there was like, if you believe in your vision, and I believed in this film from the start, with the dancing and the comedy and my comedy, the brand that I've been doing since I'm 10 years old, you just keep pushing forward. No matter what anybody tells you, you believe in it and you push forward. Persistent.
What you just said is everyone in crypto.
Yeah.
And I still don't understand what is in us as humans that we can wake up every day doing something that everyone thinks we're idiots and we're stupid and do it for years. Wake up every day and just with a smile on our face, go do that.
Yep.
We don't consciously think about.
It's great. I've talked to people like one of my friends created Barry's Bootcamp, which is huge.
Yeah,
actually. And she was like, I was like, how did you? Yeah. What's that?
No, there's a big crypto guy. He does Keith. He does Rabois. He does a big Barry's Bootcamp in Miami on like
great.
a helipad. Everyone tries to get in.
Oh, that's great. Well, my friend Rachel literally
Miami.
created it with her friend Barry, right? So it's I asked her like how did you know? And she goes, I just knew. She goes, I begged, borrowed, and stealed money, just like put it together. She goes, I just kept saying to myself, this is going to work. And I feel the same with a lot of the crypto stuff. You know, I was debating with one of my friends as a banker, you know, and we were kind of jokingly, you know, he was like, you know, how's that funny money working out for you, Tom? You know, all this crap. And I said, I showed him the article. There's a famous article where the guy that was written years ago, and it was "The Internet Will Never Replace Fax Machines." Yes, that's the title of the article, and I think that's just so funny. It's like people don't see a future, you know, and everybody in your industry has, you know, they've seen it and they've stuck to it when people were laughing at them because it was, you know, oh, you're 0.0001 cent for Bitcoin. And then it's just like, you know, oh, and then it drops from 17 to 3,000. Wow, you lost your shirt. Great. Now it's 64,000. You know what I mean? It's like you look at it and you go, oh, it had a big crash now and it's $35,000. It's like, this was $1 like 6 years ago. Like you're freaking out because it's 34,000 or whatever. I just think it's ridiculous. So,
how do businesses in America or really in the world influence film like through products and services and then come at us like culturally? How does that work? Because now that's starting to happen in crypto where the narratives need to start to be a little bit more controlled because the media hates crypto and you have the fear, uncertainty, and doubt constantly.
Tons. Yeah.
So how do other industries do? I mean, cigarettes and movies for 100 years ago, it's for forever.
Well, so much is perception. So much of life and everything is perception. And so, look, if they're rarely generic. You know, if James Bond is driving a really cool car, you know, or Italian Job has, you know, Mini Coopers or something like that. You know, those kind of things are definitely sponsored. You know, or he has a cool. You know, I think Audi sponsored.
Oh, really?
James Bond.
Did Mini Cooper sponsor?
Italian Job, I'm not sure, but the key is
best freaking Mini Cooper commercial ever.
But I think I believe Audi is James Bond.
Yeah, it is.
So Audi's in everything.
They're nice Audis too.
Yeah, product placement, and it's like so. Look, I'm not against that per se. You know, you're not selling me. An Audi's a great car. You're not selling. You know, you're not putting Kias on there and having James Bond drive them. And I don't think there's enough money Kia could pay to get James Bond to drive. But the key, what I'm getting at is that, I mean, look. That's why I love independent film. Look, I'm happy to do a studio film. I've done 17 movies with stars, you know, Betty White and Billy Zane and Amy Smart, Elijah Dishu, Tim Hunt and Carrie Elways, Princess Bride, all these things. And so, but the studio system, a lot of times will try to say, well, listen, this guy's got to be, you know, he's got to be this race, or he's got to be this tall, or the whole time he's got to be listening to a Walkman. I don't know. You know, I just dated myself, but something has to happen. And so there's a lot of constraints sometimes.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not saying that I wouldn't be okay with a lot of that stuff. It's fine as long as it doesn't kill your initial vision for the movie. You know what I mean? If somebody says we got to shoot in this bar or this other bar, okay, fine. You know, it's okay. I don't care. But if the guy was the coolest guy ever, and you said he has to drive and I hate to be crapping on some car brand, but let's go again to Kia. He's a Kia. You know, this guy's a stunt driver that's the fastest driver ever, and he's going to drive this Kia because Kia's giving us $1 million. I'd be like,
that makes no sense.
Ruin the character? Doesn't that completely destroy the movie?
And studio would do that.
Yeah. So that's where you got to watch your vision. You know, but look, goes back to the famous saying in Hollywood: nobody knows anything. Because at any time when you're trying to put a constraint, I've heard this 1,000 times. Oh, this movie couldn't be made 20 years ago or something like that. Bull. Every time somebody says that, there's an exception to the rule. Anybody says, you know, musicals are dead, then La La Land comes out and kills it. You know what I mean? It's something like that. So there's always a time, or Westerns are dead or things like that. And it's truly nobody knows anything.
I want to make a Western.
You know what I mean? Anything. Yeah, I love Westerns. Anything that people are talking about, they say, it can never be done, bull. And so for me, I mean, I've been told it can never be done. That, you know, you're an actor, writer, producer. You're gonna get.
That's my biggest pet peeve. It's like, really? Yeah. It's like, really? You're gonna come here and say you can't do this? Yeah. Like you're gonna come at a problem with saying that the solution is impossible or can't be found? Do you understand the depths of what humankind has been through and what we can come out of individually and as a collective? We're strong motherfucking people. We can do. It's unbelievable.
That's great. I'm glad you said motherfucker because I shortened
Fuck
my
the FCC.
I
own this distribution.
Good. I shortened
my
my
show.
bullshit to bull because I was like, I don't know if I'm allowed to say shit. So
do you know actually this show has the explicit tag warning, and at first I was pissed off that Apple gave it to me, but I'm like, I'm gonna use it now because I might as well.
That's right. All right, fuck that. All right, look, so no, it's right. People can. One of my favorite quotes is by Robert Downey Jr., where he says, smile, nod, agree, and then go do whatever the fuck you want. And I try to remember that in life because that has helped me very times dealing with exes, dealing with people, dealing with asshole agents. One of the an actor on a film said that I was too old.
I learned that. But I learned that in prison.
Yeah.
I consider that a superpower.
Yeah.
The ability to shut up, bite your tongue, bite your ego, move on.
Yeah.
But I had to go to prison to learn that.
Yeah.
How did you learn that? Because everyone wants to know how to learn that.
Yeah. No,
that's a superpower.
It is, in a way to not take it personally. But here's the key. Even if I did take it personally, well, I'll tell you a great story that I believe I've told you before, but I love this story. Brian Regan, one of my favorite comedians, said that he would watch these ants building an anthill, right? And when he was a kid, and they'd be working on the ant, and then every once in a while, he'd just take his hand and swipe it across, and he'd be like, rebuild. And he said there was never a moment where the ants were like, oh, come on. They immediately started rebuilding. And I said, that's the way I'm going to be in my career. If something happens and he goes, this falls through, or this agent said this, okay, I'm still building the damn anthill.
Yeah.
And then the anthill falls down. Great. I'm starting to do it again. You know what I mean? And the key is you can't take the moment where you go, come on, or debating this person, or something like that. Or if somebody's walking off set, again, we're having some of these issues with the current film. Because it's like some location got mad at us. Okay, so what now? We're done with that location. The film is the can. So now we got to go back and don't be mad at us and blah, blah, blah. No, it's like the key is you just keep moving on. You just keep chipping away. And that's the same with the Bitcoin. It's like if you believe in it and you believe in the concept of it and you've wrapped your head around it, just keep going forward with it. And sooner or later, you'll be the one that, you'll be the one on the pedestal and everybody else says, I should have been doing that shit.
It's so many parallels. In crypto, it's like some of my friends, a lot of the listeners, they work these jobs and they wake up and they fucking suffer. They spend 12-hour days grueling. And then they got the shit on the internet, people coming at them. Then they got their parents thinking that they're idiots not working for these crypto companies. But they still do it. Yeah. In film, it's the same thing. You're on set, you're sitting there, it's 50 people, you're stressed out, you're 10 hours into it, and then someone just walks on the set and is like, this movie's gonna be shit.
Yeah. And you know what?
It's me.
Thankfully, nobody's done that.
No one's done that.
But look, ultimately, success always wins. You know what I mean? Like you're stupid and you're foolish for pursuing this dream until, you're successful. It's like, I've been doing this and successfully now for almost 20 years. There's not one person that would ever, crap on that or be like, Tom, you need a corporate job or something ridiculous like that. Same with you with the crypto. It's like, if it was still 0.0001 cent, then maybe somebody could be like, oh, Charlie, what are you doing? But you can never argue with success. But a cool thing happened to me the other night when my son's been helping out as a PA on set. And I got a picture of that whole group. And this is something, inspiration for anybody listening, is that I had a feeling where I went, look at all these people that are here. You're here. Everybody's in Rochester. We had 75 extras for a background. We had all this crew and all this stuff. And we got this machine has been built. And I went, this all came from an idea in my head. This all came from me just maybe one morning, afternoon where I had done a dance movie, Love and Dancing, Amy Smart, Billy Zane, Betty White, me. And it for some reasons it failed because of the timing and all this crap. And I could give you 50 reasons why it failed. And I was never going to do it again. And then one day, can't even pinpoint what the day, I said, why don't I just try another one? And I came up with this whole idea for this movie, which was a dating comedy that just exists in a world where everybody can dance. Yeah. Instead of making it about a dance movie, it's a really, really funny movie where there's just, every time you see somebody dance, they're really good. And came forward that. So what's great is that in anything, in crypto and building a business and creating a product, and it starts up here. And then that materializes into something, because in here is electrons and your thoughts are actual things. And when that's the law of attraction right there. Thoughts become things. 3 words.
Oh,
and
wow.
so when
Thoughts
I was
become
thinking
things.
about that, now look at that. So my thought in my head, let me do another dance movie, has now turned into, 150 people on set and all these people being employed and everything going forward. And that's an amazing feeling. It's something that to anybody listening, you can do it. You just need to decide what you want to do and jump in the freaking pool with both feet.
You keep throwing the word like success and failure around, and you said like love and dancing, and you said like failure to you. I mean, I don't think it was a failure. I don't know. So that's really my question is like, how are you gauging? How are you judging yourself success and failure? And how do everyone else judge it? Because like, yeah, maybe that movie didn't make your house name and make as much money, but I watched it. I enjoyed it. It's still great. It's timeless.
Yeah. A lot of
it was made 20 years ago or 10 years ago or something.
2009. Yeah.
Okay. So like, why is, if someone right now walked up to me and I was you in that film, I still am. I'd be like proud of that. I'd brag about you. Like, why is that
No, it's a great point. It's a very good point, Charlie. And maybe it's because I am defining it as, didn't become a monster breakout hit, and the key is I had those aspirations. How few do, though? Yeah, I had those aspirations. Well, yeah, it's very tough. It's very tough because the lottery tickets, let's just say, are publicized, meaning the $15,000 Paranormal Activity that becomes $300 million. Okay, for the one that did that, there's 1,000 that didn't do it. But to me, those odds aren't even that bad. 1 in 1,000, is not as bad as, actual lottery. But meaning the ones that explode are the ones that are publicized. So you're right. There were so many positives that came from Love and Dancing that I could point to and say, this happened, this happened, this happened. But in the grand scheme of things, there was a lot more negatives for me. It's like I lost money. I lost my relationships, and things like that. But you're right. It's not black and white. It's not a zero. It's not like, well, it's either win or lose. It's not that. It's like, what did I gain? What did I lose? Tons of experience, but lost certain things. And so you have to look at it as that. At the end of the day, whatever doesn't kill you, make you stronger. It's 100% true because it's like, you're still going to go forward. You're still going to do more stuff. And you just have to look at it and say, well, what can I learn from that? And what can I do better?
You had the opportunity. We went to Puerto Rico together and to a crazy crypto world down there. I actually have had a bunch of people that we've met on that trip. I've had on the show. Really, it's. I thought when we were going to go down there, Puerto Rico was going to be a place where it was going to be like beach vibes and everyone was just like chilling. And it's all crypto rich people, just like vibing all the time. Yeah. But that's not really what it was. Like it was a lot of people building and doing a lot of amazing things. Yeah. But it's different because in crypto, that's our business when we're talking constantly and conceptualizing ideas. If you have 1 out of 50, if 50 bad ones are bad, you have 1 good one, that's pretty successful.
Yeah.
How did you feel about that? Did you look at all of us as like, what are these guys doing? Are they working? Are they like, how did it look to you from an outsider perspective?
Not at all. From a sales perspective, look at, and I wrote a book called Bankroll that was considered the gold standard book on film financing. It was I did this first edition 2008, second edition 2012, and now, as I said, everything's online at Filmmaking Stuff, which is a free site, and Filmmaking Stuff HQ, which is the membership site, right? So I'll just say that there was a lot of sales aspects in that. So I know going down there how people are pitching ideas and pitching things. And look, there's a piece of me, David, my best friend, knows this, that it's like, I don't love just going out socially for no reason. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like if you and I go to, you're my friend now, and it's like, we'll go out, there's still got to be like 5 minutes of something. I have to have some value there. It's just like, let's just go and get drunk.
I agree.
You know what I mean? Like, especially, when there's people that you could be doing business with, it's like, so now if I go out, for instance, my voice a little hoarse, we all went out last night and go out and just have a good time. Sometimes that's strategic. You know what I mean? Sometimes that's for bonding. Like that was for the whole cast and crew bonding. So great. We all have a good time or whatever, and didn't specifically talk business, but it brought us all closer together. So, I mean, I guess I'm getting at is that a beach vibe I would have been bored. You and I are very similar in that I'm only stressed when I'm bored, man. It's like, I like doing something, but also having a goal. And our goal down there was to raise the financing for this movie, and get some more investors, which we did. So.
Yeah. And meeting all those people and just kind of seeing how everything flowed unintentionally. Mm-hmm. It's like when you don't try, things end up working out.
Well,
why don't you have your own podcast? I was gonna say that.
I guess I never thought about it. You would have to teach me how to do that but I do, I do videos on YouTube, filmmaking stuff /filmmaking stuff, or free videos on movie business and stuff like that. But, it's when you're talking about being down there. For anybody that's listening that may be unsuccessful or needs to have more money in their life, which look, it's not going to be the solution to your problems, but it is going to take away that problem, which is great. You look at the people you're hanging out with. Are they all broke? Right. And so it behooves you to be around successful people, right? Because, you and I and Courtney and Diane are on a boat where the money was so much that they had sushi flown in from Japan. Talk about FU money. Sushi flown in from Japan just to add that radioactive touch. But the bottom line is, it's like just being around those people, you start to talk opportunities. And again, law of attraction, I'm a big believer in that. You start to program your mindset, right? Here's a famous story.
You want to be more successful.
Yeah.
Like Isa, our driver, he just wants to be so successful because he's always around all these successful people in the film all the time.
Yeah. I host 2 charity poker events. I created one in New Jersey, and then I have another one in LA called the Dream Builders. Obviously, nothing's going on with because of COVID, but when they come back, and that we've raised money for MS and we've raised money for different things. And so I gave this speech once about donating money, right? And the key is people will say this, and here's an interesting phrase. They'll say, well, if I was rich, I'd donate money, right? That's what they'll say. But the way to spin it is actually just like, I donate money and then I become rich, because that puts you in the mindset if you have enough to give away. You see what I'm saying? So you go, here's $300 for that charity or something like that. Your mindset starts to attract that you got the money to be able to do that. So you put yourself in that right mindset. And I'm telling everybody that's listening, mindset equals results. It's not you have to see it to believe it. You have to believe it to see it. And that comes directly from Wayne Dyer. You have to believe it first to see it. So once you believe, I've got enough money to give to charity, that becomes your reality, and that becomes what you have.
Yeah, there's a famous quote, Im tertu enzo agada. If you try, if you push for it, it'll be. There'll be nothing, no obstacles will be in your way.
If you move forward confidently in the direction of your dreams, I forget who said that one. It's just like you'll get them every time, and it's so true. But remember every word there. Confidently, you can't move forward like, all right, maybe keep my backup job, maybe do that. You got to jump in the pool.
It's not all fun and games though. So you were you're doing all these. Your career was growing. You're living in Los Angeles, and everything was getting very successful. You love LA. You love Los Angeles.
City. Yeah.
But then life happens and things change, and you have to move here to Rochester, New York, and you still kind of like don't. It's still like for you, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. You want to go back to LA. You miss LA. What advice would you have for people who, especially when your career is so physically based in one place, and then the world throws you that wrench, and you want to just give up?
Life gets in the way. So, yeah, okay. And to give you a little bit of backstory for the listeners is that, I went through a bad divorce, and, I have 2 kids, the greatest kids, Ella and Tyler, and my ex-wife wanted to move to Rochester, New York. So I won't go into too many detail there, but the bottom line is that was the only way I could have, my kids are with me 4 days a week, every week. And
they're awesome kids.
And they're the greatest kids. And that was the only way I could do that. So I chose that. And now I had 2 places. I had a place in North Hollywood and here. Sherman Oaks was before that. No, I had a place in North Hollywood and in Rochester. And I would go back and forth on average, maybe 17 to 20 times a year. I was in the play, I lived in a play. And that, now you're also got to count Cannes Film Festival and Cannes also for MIPCOM and Berlin, Toronto. So I was in a play, I was just like, yeah, all right. I'd wave to the people at the check-in. Hey, what's up? So the key is whatever obstacle you have, like you say to me, Tom, I want to learn movies, but I got 2 kids, I'm a single mom, blah, blah, blah. You'll find a way to do it if the why is big enough. The how can always be figured out if the why is big enough. If I said to you, Charlie, you got to climb Mount Everest. You think yourself, how the hell am I going to, I don't know that. But if I said to you, I'll give you $1 billion cash, you would freaking train. You would be the greatest mountain climber. You would spend the 5 years becoming in the best shape of your life, and you do it. So understand that if you can make the why big enough, the how becomes insignificant. And the why for me is that I'll never give up on movies. I'll be 85 years old. They'll be wheeling me into an audition. I'll be like, this is my role right here, baby. Because that why will never, ever shrink for me.
5 minutes ago, I would never climb Mount Everest. It's never even in the realm of even thought. Yeah. But if someone walked through this door right now and even wrote me a check for $10 million, if I climb Mount Everest, like you said, in 5 years, I will become, or all of us would become the best damn mountain climber.
Yeah, exactly. Now,
so then why can't we do it right now? Why do we need that $10 million check? Why can't I go?
Exactly. Now, somebody might be listening and saying, oh, guess what? It's not about money for me. You guys are talking about money. Great. Okay, let's say the cure to your kid's cancer is at the top of Mount Everest. Then would you learn? You know what I mean? So you can make the why big enough, whatever it is. True love. You're a girl. If you could do this girl's going to marry you. You know what I mean? Something like, so whatever it is, the why is big enough. So you have to, sometimes it's smart to intentionally inflate the why. You know what I mean? Like, the stories of the stockbrokers buying a Ferrari when they didn't have any money, but they bought the Ferrari. So then they're like, I want to keep that goddamn Ferrari. So now how am I going to make it? I'm just going to get on the phone and just kill sales. We do it in crypto.
We buy Lambos.
Yeah, buy Lambos. Yeah. So didn't we have a debate about this? Is what's the top car? Which I said Aston Martin and somebody else said Lambo. I go, get the hell out of here. That's
it's definitely not Lambo.
Yeah. And anyway, and I have a Range Rover. But anyway, no. And you have a Maserati. So, well, I guess I lost my train of thought there, but the bottom line is, if your why is big enough, you will figure it out. I've said that to people.
Your train of thought,
So she's a single mom, 2 kids. How am I going to learn the film business well? Then you can't take an extra half hour. You can't get up a half hour earlier and watch videos. You can't stay up a half hour later. Then your why is not big enough. You don't want it badly enough. You do not want it badly enough.
When you become someone who has all of the answers and you become one of these people who can succeed by inflating your own why, that's a superpower.
Yeah.
Do you get frustrated when people come to you, try to solve their problems because you're now good at it or you like doing it?
No, I love teaching and love helping people. And that's the whole filmmaking stuff is giving away advice. And I don't hold anything back. I'm not like, here's the secret stuff that I use. And, I give everything away. The frustration always comes from the fact of perception. It's like, look, imagine if you were Michael Jordan and you were the best basketball player that ever lived, which he is. Then we think of LeBron. It's like, oh, give me a break.
Yeah.
Michael's so much better than LeBron.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is, you look at that and you imagine if you were Michael Jordan. Like, I feel as a comic actor that I am that fucking good. I feel I'm one of the best that ever lived. That's a pretty big statement, but I have friends. Jack Black, is a personal friend of mine. It's like, I'm like, any day, put me on the screen with him, I'll blow his ass off the screen. Like, I know that shit.
Yeah.
And the key is, imagine if you believed you were Michael Jordan and maybe you really were Michael Jordan, but you couldn't play basketball. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the problem with the film business. It's like, I'd like to be doing movies with Steve Carell and Steve Carell and Will Ferrell and all that stuff, and be doing lines back and forth and be on SNL and be, a player on SNL, all that stuff. The opportunities, the timing also have to match up. Now, with all the experience and taking swings at bat, maybe that leads to it. And obviously, look, I'm not hurting. I've started a bunch of films.
But I'm saying is now you can do all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 10 years ago or 20 years ago or whatever. Maybe it would have been weird if you went on SNL after Love and Dance.
Yes, maybe you're
like,
right. Maybe you're better.
You know who you were?
Sorry, that's an interesting statement. Is that the choreographer of this film, my good friend Robert Royson, now your friend as well, great guy. He said to me, "Man, you should have directed Love and Dancing." And I said to him, maybe I wasn't ready then. And I don't know. I didn't immediately been like, yeah, I should have. I went, maybe I wasn't ready. I mean, that was 2009. So like, yeah, actually, I would say I definitely wasn't ready. I definitely wasn't ready. Isn't that funny? Because, so you're right. Experience does help and you get better and it's a timing thing. And then you're fighting age and all that stuff. But look, that's the only frustration is going, and I know, when you know how good you are and you can't just automatically be there just based on your ability, right? It has to be timing and luck. But the key is, the antidote to that is to just keep working, keep grinding away, and learn to love the grind. That took me so long. And obviously it helps money coming in, when you're successful, it's very tough to love the grind.
The grind.
But I love it. Every day, just chipping away. Like, let's do stuff. Let's do, let's develop some more projects. I love that. And developing projects is no money involved, you know what I mean? But it's like, I love that grind.
You remind, I was talking to Eric Voorhees, a very crypto OG. He's been around the space very long time, 10 years probably. And he runs Shapeshift, one of the top companies in the space. And usually in crypto's only been around. Bitcoin, 10 years, crypto, like 5.
Mm-hmm.
So when you become successful, you don't really want to like do it again because it's exhausting.
Yeah.
Things move very fast.
Yeah.
So I was talking to Eric and he was telling me what he's working. He's like, I'm doing this project and I had to fire someone or hire someone. And I had to, the company's growing 200 people. And I'm like, Eric, dude, aren't you tired? You've been doing this for so long. And you know what he said? He said, I'm tired when I'm not doing this.
Yeah, it's great. That's a great thing. All right, so I have an actor friend, Greg Harrison, who was a great actor, and he was a big star in the 80s, Trapper John MD, and I think he's on General Hospital now. And he was saying that the film business or acting or, even crypto, let's just say, is much like surfing. You go for the wave and it's right in front of you. And he says, you go again, it's right behind you. Then you talk to the guy in the pier and he goes, man, if you'd only come yesterday, it was amazing. Right? He says, so it's always a timing thing, but he goes, every once in a while you hit that wave and it's the greatest feeling you'll ever have and you'll chase for the rest of your life.
You train for it.
But yeah, and train for it and chase for the rest of your life. But also there's one aspect that I added to it was after you tell that whole story, you just say, I also just love surfing. You see what I'm saying? So meaning with building a business, building a crypto, making a film and all that stuff, the wave might be in front of you, it might be behind you. It might have happened yesterday. It might happen tomorrow, blah, blah, blah. But the key is you got to keep surfing to hit that wave. And sooner or later, if you just believe and you also go, man, I just love surfing. So this guy, Eric, who I don't know, but I know of him, but I don't know him personally, but he loves surfing. And for him, his surfing is crypto, and building businesses and doing those things. And it doesn't matter if the wave's in front of him or behind him, he's going to keep surfing.
I love it. And I want to learn how to surf.
Because I have no desire.
No, but so like life, I feel like life and the universe, it's all energy. At the end of the day, like we look at these things and there's like, you can physically manifest energy. It's all there. I feel like everything I've done in my short adult career of 10 years, sitting in prison, doing everything I've ever done, has led me, and then meeting my wife and everything, and then her introducing me to acting into TV and film has led me to this moment of meeting you. And now our strings are intertwined with each other.
It's great.
And we're both like putting this wave together with Ask Me to Dance. So my question is, what's next for you?
That's a good question.
What do you want to do? Because I really do believe that this is that way for you.
That's great.
Only because a lot of, I know you want to answer the question. And I don't know if I have like an ego thing here, but I really do believe that like whatever the crazy sky people or whatever gods, but the gods put me in this place and to meet some of these people to like be able to grow together.
That's awesome, man. Well, I have, I've been doing comedy since I was 10 years old in front of crowds, improv, graduated the IO West. And one of my great friends, a guy named Greg Pausini, who passed away earlier this year, he kind of made me swear that I would do a comedy. And I never did it. Like, so you can look and you go, Tom, you've done 17 movies, not one of them was a comedy. Like, and I've been in 35 movies, not one of them was a comedy. And it's like, so why, Tom? And again, that question is not an easy answer, but finally I'm doing it, right? And I now have 20 years experience. And so to answer your question, look, there's some movies that I wanted to make, my action film at the high school. There's another film, but ultimately for me as a director, it's comedy. I know Saturday Night Live is losing 4 or 5 cast members this year. It's like, I'd love to do comedy. I'd love to be on SNL. It's because I know no matter
your
what I could
comedy,
do it.
your school of comedy is my comedy.
Yeah.
It's what I love.
Yeah,
and I haven't been able to find people that can make me laugh as much since I was in prison.
It's awesome, man.
Because in prison, there's so much sarcastic, passive aggressive, very clever, smart humor that people sit all day like coming up with this shit. You just come out with it.
I'm quick. I have a quick brain. And that's what you need for on-stage
QB,
improv.
you got quick brain.
Quick brain, cute.
Shit, I got
it. Fun. That was quick. It's the key is that, it's comedy. Like, you don't want to get too erudite about it, but funny is funny. And when we have pretty much every day on set had a moment where we yell cut and everybody bursts out laughing, that is a great sign. But, it's like, look, there's different people. Some have the sarcastic humor. I am a timing and presentation guy.
But I like that humor. The SNL humor, you keep going back. It's like boring humor.
Well,
I don't watch it anymore. Elon Musk, I don't want to watch it. It was stupid.
Well, here's the deal. And I'm not going to, I don't want to crap on anybody.
No, I'm going to crap on Elon Musk. He craps on me all day.
I'm not talking about, I know. Thanks, Elon, for losing me a bunch of money too. But the key is, no, I mean, I wasn't want to crap on SNL. What I was going to say was that I've noticed a lot of the cast members don't what I would say jump in the pool. The funniest performers in the history of SNL, Chris Farley, Jim Belushi, then you go to In Living Color, you go to Jim Carrey, all these people.
What's the girl with the blonde hair, the one who she's crazy? And SNL, she's so funny.
I mean, Kate McKinnon?
Maybe. All of them. But the ones who go out there.
But the key is, you have to commit fully. I remember this one thing, I'm not trying to call out a cast member that wasn't working, but it was just like, it cuts back to him, and it was a prank video show, and it was him and De Niro. I think it might have been Seth Meyers, who's found his niche on a talk show, which is fine. So maybe he wasn't a great player.
He's doing talk show?
Yeah. He doesn't have one of the late night shows.
Oh, yeah, he does.
He was with Robert De Niro, and they were talking about a prank show, and Robert De Niro said, I pranked somebody good, and it cuts to a video of Robert De Niro literally chainsawing a man, right? Chainsawing a man. So that was like the joke, is like, like he took the prank too far. And it cuts back to Seth Meyers, and he's just like, oh, wow. And it's like, Seth, that's not the reaction. So you just saw somebody chainsaw. When it cuts back to you, you should be like, what the fuck? So you're not committing. And I think a lot of them want to be either, maybe they don't have the ability, or they want to be too cool. They're thinking about their image. And the best, Jim Carrey, Chris Farley, never thought about their image. They just thought about being the funniest idiots in the room. And there's not one moment on Ask Me to Dance where I'm like, oh, I look stupid if I go, you know what I mean? I'm going, what's funny? And that's it.
It's the ones who have been the funniest idiots in the rooms that have been the most successful.
100%, and it's like, you gotta, whatever it is, and truly bring it back to crypto or anything, just commit completely. If you're hesitant, it's almost like if you're going to do a flip. I don't know what, maybe just think about this. If you're going to do a flip, I don't know if you've ever done it in a trampoline or something like that. If you if you have commit, you're done. If you for 1 second hesitate, you're going fucked, on your neck. You know what I mean? But the key is you just boom, fully commit, done. You're doing it. And that's really, you got to flip into life. Maybe that should be my book title. You have to flip into life. I don't know.
Flipping into life.
I better learn how to do a flip
Tom
first.
Malloy. Let's all be the stupid idiots in the room. Be the stupid idiots in the room. I remember my boss at my first job told me that one of his best hires he ever did, and he loved doing it. He said the guy walked into the room in a banana costume for the job.
It's great.
I didn't even remember what the job was for, or who the company, anything. But he said the guy walked in the room with a banana costume on. Like, just be the idiot.
Yeah. Well, or just take risks that don't be afraid to look bad. It's like somebody, one of the actors tomorrow, reached out to me on Instagram, and I know I'm going to get a bunch of Instagram reach outs after this, and said,
slide into Tom's DMs.
Right. And said, I want to be this role, Todd, right? Which he's ultimately playing. You want to be Todd. Now, I know we had an audition in New York. So he had the audition in New York. He said, hey, I'm auditioning for Todd. And he says, but I'm using law of attraction. And maybe he'd read up about me and knows I'm big on it. I'm using law of attraction. I'm putting it out to the universe that I'm going to be in your movie. I said, send me the audition. So he sent it to me directly. So I used to send the audition. I thought it was great, but I went, change this, that, and the other thing. He resent it, and I went, you got it. Done. You know what I mean? Without even looking at the other people. I looked at, funny enough, I ultimately did look at the other people, and he still was the best one. So again, you still have knack factor is going to be a factor. So like, meaning if he was bad, it wouldn't have worked. But what would he have lost if he was bad? I would have, he took that risk. Now, I might not have ever seen his Instagram message, anything like that. But who gives a shit? I mean, like, take the risk, look bad, and as long as you're not annoying or embarrassing or being inappropriate, you go up to Lorne Michaels on the street, you find out, I want to be on SNL, you shake him, like, come on, like, that's ridiculous and stupid. You know what I mean? But the key is, why not try stuff? Why not?
You should
shake them, why not try something that's going to be outlandish and take a risk in life? It really sucks when you have Here's a philosophy that anybody listening can subscribe to. It's no should-haves. Try to have no should-haves in your life. Meaning, God, I should have talked to that girl. God, I should have asked Charlie to start this business. God, I should have. No. Try to, if you ever have in your mind.
Yeah, you're going to be shitting all over yourself.
Yeah, you're going to shit. That's cute. Hey, good.
You're like that in prison, actually. No, I didn't make that up. It's a jail thing.
Oh, is it really? But the key is no should-haves. You should have done it. No, do it. Do it. And if you still have time.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Yeah, if you still have time, go back and do it. Do it again. You know what I mean? Go find that girl and talk to her. Go make that business. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Take
Tom
action.
Malloy, thank you so much for coming on Untold Stories today.
Yeah, happy to be here. Happy to talk to you. You've become one of my close friends, and I'm so excited for this film.
I love you.
Awesome, brother. Thank you.
Air high five.
Free stream high five right there.